Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, traders. Can you hear me and see my screen? If you could just type yes in the questions, and we'll get rolling. All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Okay, so let's get started. We had non-farm this morning, and actually, we'll take a look at the order flow in just a second. So, welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. The risk disclaimer: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So, in this webinar, what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the basics in Bookmap, the Bookmap website, how to get the product, some of the pricing, how to connect the product, and then we're going to go through the interface in Bookmap, understand what it is, and then some basic order flow elements. Right. So when you subscribe to Bookmap, it comes along with education. Okay. You get access to a 4-part educational course. Now, in that course, we start with very basic mechanics, and even for veteran traders, this might be relatively new information. So it's good to really kind of take that, your knowledge, put it aside for a moment, and just try to absorb as much as you can from Bookmap educational course, because this is about the order flow. Right now, then every day we back up the educational content in that course in live order flow webinars. Okay, and in these advanced order flow webinars, we start to analyze the market, and then we start to anticipate future price movement based on what we see. So you can learn with the course and then see it every day following this webinar with the advanced order flow webinars. Okay, now I'm going to give you guys access to that advanced order flow webinar today, and I'm going to paste it in here into the chat. So look in the chat there. Okay, and so you'll have access just today to it. We usually do this on Friday, so that you guys can check it out and see what it's about. So see what you're getting into. And understanding not only Bookmap, but what is displaying for you and the advantages that it's giving you, right, in the order flow. Okay, so register for that there, and we'll see you in the webinar after this one. So it starts in another 25 minutes. Okay, so let's just quickly go through the website here. Just scroll down. There's an intro video here. Some more information about Bookmap in general, and then down here, connectivity. Okay, so Bookmap is a visualization software trading platform. Okay, we're not a data provider. You will need to provide the data for futures and U.S. equities. Now, it's free for the digital currencies, so no worries there. You'll get a free connection to the only exchange that we cover is the GDAX exchange for those digital currencies. Okay. All right, so you can see that there's some other platforms up here as well, like Ninja, TTX Trader Pro, and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. Now we connect to the API of these 3 different platforms. All right, but we are a platform just like they are. So it is better to connect directly with CQG, Rhythmic, Gain, IQ Feed, Transact, or Dev Experts. Now this Dev Experts is something a little different, a little special here. This is for connectivity to the US equities via NASDAQ or DX Feed NASDAQ Total View. Okay, very low latency, and it's a full depth of market, which is a great thing. All right, so just need to mention those. Now here is where you can subscribe to Bookmap. There's monthly or yearly. Yearly you get 20% off. Monthly, we'll click on that, and here's what you get. There's the digital version and global version. Now the digital version here, you can see it's free. There's no credit card required. It's a live connection. It's a full working copy of Bookmap, but it's only for one digital currency, and that's all you get. All right, you don't get the education, and you don't get the advanced education, and you don't get full support. All right, everything is limited there. Now the digital plus version, you get the ability to trade right from the Bookmap chart into that GDAX exchange, and you get up to 20 different currencies. You can record and replay your data, and you also get the advanced education and full support. Right now, the global version includes everything in Digital Plus, but this offers the global connectivity here to the U.S. equities and for the futures. Okay. Now, you will need to provide that data for the equities and futures, but you can connect it. All right. So that's what the global is. Now, the global plus is everything included in global, including these add-on indicators. Now, these are proprietary indicators we put together that are very specific to the order flow. So one is the ability to trade right from the Bookmap chart. Now, this is a great advantage because you have the liquidity heat map in front of you. So you can really optimize your entries and exits and your trade management because you can front run high liquidity or hide your orders or your stops behind high liquidity. Some great, it's a great thing to be able to do to be able to react to that liquidity because it's right in front of you. All right, large lot tracker. Now we're starting to get into specific players that we're identifying with our indicators. Okay, seeing larger players providing the majority of the liquidity in the book. All right, some imbalance indicators, and then iceberg detector. This is for detecting hidden liquidity. Okay, now we don't know it's hidden until we hit it. Okay, and that we will start to understand this is a larger player with iceberg order at these specific price levels. Okay, we also have a correlation tracker with different correlated markets you can plot onto the chart. All right, let's see here. Social media, you can follow us on Twitter at bookmap_pro. All sorts of stuff gets updated here pretty frequently, usually several times a day. Although it looks like we haven't had one today yet, we still have the cumulative volume delta setup video here from yesterday. The YouTube page, you can also subscribe here and just briefly go through it. Some intro videos if you're new, features and components to understand the user interface and what Bookmap can do, and then these order flow video snippets. Okay, these are very concise videos that look at the order flow phenomena that Bookmap can visualize. And this is the kind of data we go through in detail during the live advanced order flow webinars. Okay, so very concise, get the concept, but then the detail is going to be every day in the advanced order flow webinar. All right. Okay, well, let's jump in here and take a look. We had the non-farm this morning, and take a look at the S&P. And here is our, well, this is the overnight. Okay, and where is our non-farm here? Okay, right here. So really back and forth here. Nothing too special there on that non-farm, and that's what we see so far. All right, so we've been kind of going back and forth, and you see it's been bullish back up into this area here, and then it's been right back down. Okay, so we're right back kind of where that non-farm began, and really not seeing much here this morning. Okay, uptrend is still in play. Well, it's actually playing around with it, I guess, but I would say that that's still in play there. In terms of this big move to the downside, I'm trying to figure something out here. Looking for return back to this big drop here, which was back at 6:30 on yesterday in the just after the close, I guess, a couple hours after the close. So anyway, let's take a look at Bookmap and see what's going on, and look at this order flow. All right, so we're looking at the S&P E-mini. Okay, and now I've got quite a bit open here on this chart. I'm going to start to close up some things here. You can see this is just a sub panel. It's a cumulative volume delta indicator, let's see. Someone was asking me questions about this. Let's see, I can't recall who. Let me know if you have any questions on this cumulative volume delta and get this set up correctly, because it might be in the next webinar. that this person was inquiring, getting this set up here. Anyway, let's close it up here just for this demo. And we also have a VWAP indicator here that you can see on the chart. And that's a historical VWAP. So we're going to close that up as well. Okay. Now, let's just go through these three simple elements that are on this chart. Okay. It looks like there's all sorts of data here, and there is a lot of data here. Okay. But it's really simple and straightforward data. It's only three elements here on this chart. A historical best bid and offer. Okay. Then the volume dots that traded on that historical best bid and offer. And then you see this yellow and blue heat map. Well, what that is simply just a recording of the depth of market, and then it's projected onto the chart historically. That's it. Okay. So let's go through this exercise here. We're going to turn everything else off, and we're just going to have a candlestick chart on here. Okay, and we'll go through because we're all accustomed to this view. And what are we looking at here? Well, here's our 930 open. Okay, we're just coming down to that open. In fact, you can see, and it looks like we want to come down a little bit lower and test the lows here of the cash session. We're pretty close to it. But you know, what are we looking at here? It's only 4 data points for each candle: open, high, low, and close. And there's all sorts of data in here that we just have no clue to, you know, what occurred. And we need that insight and that clarity. Really, this candle has locked up all sorts of data within an aggregated 5-minute period. And that's the problem here. So you're kind of reading the tea leaves here and just kind of guessing at order flow. I mean, you can, you know, obviously look at the wicks and say, well, there's some selling pressure up here, but it's still a green candle, etc. Whatever. Well, let's get a lot more specific here and look exactly at what's going on. Okay. Number one, we're going to turn on the historical best bid and offer. Okay, and immediately what that allows us to do is see the price action from each 5-minute period. Okay, precisely what happened. Okay, from the open to the close of that 5-minute period. And what this allows us to do is view the microstructure. Let's see here. This question. I can see the classic UP thrust and test. Oh, okay. You're talking about the candle. Okay, got you, Yolanda. All right. Well, we're just testing the lows here, as you can see. We'll probably find some buyers down here, or some covering at least, I would imagine. Anyway, we'll take a look at the current order flow in just a second. Now, what this allows us to do, though, with this historical best bid and offer, it's really simple. I mean, that's all it is. There's no aggregation whatsoever, right? So it's just the true price down to nanosecond level, and I'll show you that later, or in just a minute. But look at these little microstructures in this trend up here. Okay, this is what gives us such insight in the microstructure, which you just don't get in the aggregated period of the candlestick. So we are kind of going sideways here, the 930 open, boom, right to the upside. Well, first to the downside, right to the upside then, and look where this is where we really kind of broke from here. We get a retest right to it, and we see continuation and a break above even this structure here. Okay, look how simple this is to see. This is where we broke from, okay, and we accepted above it. Okay, it retested here 1, 2, and 3 times. It accepted higher, and we get another break. Okay, this is a trending market. Okay, and this is what it looks like in you know, even if you look at your higher time frames, you're going to see this kind of pattern. Okay, we break to a higher area. Okay, we go sideways for a bit, and we break out again and go sideways for a bit, and we see the retest here as well, 1 and 2. Right now we break up again to the upside. Okay, and we see another area up here. Okay, let me just zoom out a little bit more. Sorry. Okay, so this was that 9:30 open. Let me zoom in here. Sorry about that. Okay, and so here's what occurred. Microstructure broken, another microstructure broken. Well, we're trending up. We're making higher highs here. We get a deeper pullback here and here. This little structure was broken as well, and then they continue to the upside. We have one more up here, a little deeper pullback, right? Because you can see here, it's actually testing this little microstructure here. And we're going to find a lot of buyers in this area probably, and that's why we're getting rebounding off of this little area here. Anyway, uh, that's what we don't get in an aggregated view. Now, let's turn on the volume dots, okay? And we're going to see exactly where the volume traded on that microstructure. And this is what gives us the insight here of reading the tape, reading the order flow, okay? So, let's zoom in just a bit. Okay, and well, here we go. Look at this nice cluster of a lot of buying, a lot of green up in that area, and the green is trading. These big green dots are trading at higher highs. Okay, look at the retest on the higher lows right here, here, and here. Okay, there's a lot less volume trading there than there is at the higher highs. Okay, this is indicative of a trending market. Okay, and we get that price discovery and breakout to the upside. Okay, and we get these deep pullbacks, and we get another one though. Here's that cluster I was talking about earlier. Okay, and why we came back and why didn't we test the top of this break here? Well, it did a little bit. There's okay, maybe it didn't. It's a little bit higher here, but the deeper pullback into this area right here. Okay, and then now this area is actually going to be the one of interest. Okay, so we can see it very clearly break, and then we see it test here a few times, and then we see it break here, and we have now a downtrending market. Okay, same stuff. Okay, retest back into these areas, and then we do get some sideways action here, a break back up again, and then a break back down. So some sideways action here for a bit, and then we see the trend engage again here to the downside. Okay, now let me just go through and show you these very simple elements that we're displaying in the Bookmap chart. And I'll just zoom into this area. Okay, and this is it. It's really straightforward data. Okay, the best ask is this red line. The best bid is this green line. That's it. Okay. Now the dots that you see here, let's make them bigger for the moment. And what are they? These are the transactions. Okay, so a green dot like this one here, this is a market buy. Okay, they crossed the spread and they took liquidity off of the best offer. And this is a market sell. It's the they hit the market sell button and took liquidity off of the best bid. Now we can zoom into these areas, okay, and we're going to see. Well, this is actually a trade for one, but let's find a bigger dot. Let's go into this one, and you're going to note like how we are displaying all of this data. We're breaking it into every single trade event, so we don't aggregate any data whatsoever. Okay, we do graphically, but we don't do it within the code or the program, because we're displaying every single market event that took place here, not only in the historical trading, but also in the heat map. Okay, the auction. Okay, for all price levels. Right. So this is really what occurred in that big dot here. Now, if I zoom back out though. Yeah, well, let me zoom back in and just show you. Okay, so we're looking at microsecond level down here. These are millionths of seconds, right? But I can zoom back out, and we're going to display this as a bigger dot. And we can use this hover or data tip tool here, and it shows me the volume of 33. Okay, if I zoom in, you'll see each one here. This is a volume of 1. This is 1. This is 2, etc. Okay. Everything is precisely displayed here. It's just a graphical representation. You can get the numeric values if you want using this data tip tool, or you also have some volume columns here. Okay. Now, as I zoom back out, we have visually aggregated this into a bigger dot. Okay, but that's it. It's just graphics. Okay, and you can see that because we don't trade at those levels, those really, really low time frame levels. Now you can see some of these pie displays, right? What is that? Well, it's a flurry of trading activity that happens so quickly that we have to give you the overall delta of this trade activity, 102 contracts here. We have to give it as in a pie display to see that the majority of this was aggressive buying. Okay, and there's some selling here. All right, but again, it's not aggregated. I zoom right back in, and you can see how it's split apart. Okay, so you have every single market event, and you can filter it in different ways as well with some of the settings. It's all there for you. Okay, so now those two elements alone, you're already miles ahead of a lot of other software platforms that are out there. Okay, even your footprint charts, for example, your footprint charts are not going to give you this specific data. And why is that? It's because it's aggregated. It's going to be within a bar. If it's a rotation bar, or if it's a time bar or a volume bar, it does not matter. It's still going to be aggregated. And what that does not allow you to see is microstructure and volume within the microstructure. Okay, that's number one. And number two, you're not going to see the speed of these moves. Okay, understanding that sellers came in pretty hard here, right, and hit the bid pretty hard here and also here. But look at the battle raging here. The buyers step right back in some of these areas as well. And that was that little area that we're looking at that's back and forth. Okay, so this was that sideways activity. Okay, and the buyers come in and they mount one more charge back up here, and this is as far as they could get. Okay, then we kind of go back and forth for a bit, but the sellers really engage right here. And look at that. You can just clearly see it. Look at the speed, look at the size of the volume, okay, and look at the color of it. Okay, that is a lot of selling. That's driving the market down here, and then it continues to drive to lower lows here. All right. And this is what we look for in the order flow. Now we haven't even covered the heat map yet. Okay, so the heat map is our third element that we're going to look at in the chart. And let's take off the candlestick and let's get rid of our lines here. And let's go to the current market. Here we go. Okay, so this is all historical to the left of this vertical white line. Okay, and to the right though, this is the current market. This is the best bid and offer. Okay, this is our price ladder here, and then you can see the liquidity here on the offer and then on the bid. These are contracts. These are traders that are providing liquidity. They want to be sellers up here and they want to be buyers down here. This is the auction. Okay, this is the market being made right now. Right. So the dome is great. It's great to see this in the current market to understand, you know, what where they want to bid and where they want to offer. You know, the majority of them. Now these numbers, you can see they're always changing, and that's the problem here, because you're going to have to remember these areas here. Was it high liquidity? How long did they stay there? Were they front run by some people? So or did they pull when price came back up into that area? All these questions are difficult and tedious to answer using a numeric dome like this for just the current market. And that's the problem. Now, where that is solved is with the heat map. Okay, we take that data in the heat map. I'm sorry, in the dome here, these numeric values, and we change that into a graphical representation. Okay, in the heat map. So areas of high liquidity, well, here they are. Okay, this is what it looks like. It's orange or yellow. The scale is up here. Orange is the most liquidity, all the way down to black, which is the least. Okay. Now, what that allows us to do is start to really comprehend the auction. Okay, and that's that third element we're looking at in the chart here. So look at the bidding down here. Okay, pretty aggressive, pretty aggressive. It's here's the swing low, right? And they're bidding up in these areas in that auction. They're kind of starting to front run each other. And looks like they really want to be buyers. Okay, now let's go and view the intent of some of these guys, because it looks like some of them, or a lot of them, pulled their liquidity, and indeed they did. Okay, so the look here was that pretty bullish, right? They want to be buyers. Okay? But when price came down toward them, they got cold feet and they pulled. Okay, this is what that looks like. Okay, it was bright in here with high liquidity. Let's show you how much liquidity. Okay, 464 contracts on the bid. Okay, all the way down, and then they started to pull 400. Okay, 371. Okay, and then we get into these areas here, 295, and it's trading into these areas here. Okay, so they don't really want to be a buyer now, so they're pulling. Right? And in fact, what ends up happening here is the market completely exhausts out on the sell side. It's not that these guys got filled. This was actually, they did not have the intent to trade here. Okay, and we just determined that. So we know this is like fake liquidity, basically. You know, they don't want to trade. And instead, what happens down here is we actually exhaust out on the sell side. Okay? There's very little selling down in these little points. Okay, and instead we see the rotation back up here, and we find some buyers. Okay, and they lift the offer pretty quickly. All right, and we turn back to where they started to lift that offer. Okay, and we see continuation. Okay, now we're starting to understand, and let's zoom into this little area here. Okay, look at the liquidity here. Look at the difference. Okay, this isn't the greatest example. We can find others, but this is real liquidity. Okay, this is actually one of these things we look for in the advanced order flow webinars. This is like a test here, or it could be a spoof. They're providing very high liquidity and it's very short term. They haven't been in here for very long, just for basically 10 seconds. Okay, but the buyers took them on, right? And they traded into it. Showing pretty bullish behavior on the buyers. The aggressive buyer here is engaged, looking for the next target up here. Those guys pull, looking for the next target up here at 37. They're pulling all the way up until finally up here, this is being absorbed. Okay, this is real liquidity. Okay, and we're making that distinction very, very clearly here. You can see how the market traded up into it, and the green dots are taking place right into this level of liquidity. Okay, now we're starting to note larger players are getting filled now. Okay, so this is gonna absorb a lot of that buying pressure, and you know, you start to look for maybe pullbacks after seeing some absorption like that, and we see a pretty steep one here, right back into the range. In fact, so we're right back down into those lows again, right? And now we're down below them. Okay. Anyway, if you guys came in late, I'm going to paste in the link to the advanced order flow webinar. So there you go. You have it. Please click on it there and register. And we'll stop this webinar, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. See you there. Bye.